Welcome back, everybody, to the Word Around the Ring podcast. We're excited to bring you this year's Crown Jewel review. My name is Big Rob, and I'll let my tag partner introduce himself.
I'm King Jess, and we're the only podcast newer than the Crown Jewel Championship. Crown Jewel is finally behind us. I don't know how you feel about the show, so I'm excited to get your thoughts on it. So let's get this review underway.
For sure. Overall, I thought the show itself, pay per view itself, didn't live up to the standards in the match card that it had produced. Those are my initial thoughts coming out of the pay per view. Want to get your initial thoughts as well.
Yeah, I think that l- I was expecting the lead up to ramp up maybe a couple weeks before, and I feel like it did so. I just feel like at the end of the night, it didn't really deliver on a lot of the hype that I think it was trying to get us to believe.
For sure. But no, definitely an enjoyable show to say the least. I just thought because of the match card, it looked so strong. It was the first time Triple H has gone to 7 matches in his since he's taken over the pay-per-view reigns. We've only seen 5 matches for the most part. But I guess he did decide to cut these matches short and stick to the time limit that he's been producing with over the course of the last year or so with the 3 hour, 2.5 to 3 hour pay-per-views. Um, but I thought it was a solid show, but definitely under delivered. But of course, the first match of the night, which we are excited to speak about, is the original Bloodline versus the new Bloodline here. Overall, this match was, of course, another Bloodline match. Nothing too crazy happened here. You can only do so much with Jay and Jimmy Uso hitting their memorable super kicks and Roman and Solo in the middle of the ring as well. But I thought the match itself was I would say, one of the weaker Bloodline matches that I've seen in recent times. I think it is. I think, of course, they are saving the sparks and the magic for the War Games match that we're predicting is going to happen in a few weeks here between all these Samoans. But definitely thought it was one of the weaker of the Bloodline matches of recent time. Would you agree or disagree with that statement?
I would agree. I feel like we went into this match in the red headspace when we said that the match wasn't really that important. It was more the outcome at the end of it. The shenanigans that happened post match, and I feel like they delivered on that. We'll get into that in a little bit, but at the end of the day, the match was all right. It was solid. It's like you said. I think it's one of the weaker Bloodline matches, but I think the way that it ended was the way that we were intending to go the whole time.
Definitely. But what I enjoyed throughout this match here, and what I found interesting was at one point in the match, I think it was Jay Uso and Tama Tonga was in the ring with Jay. Jay had gotten the advantage on him. The crowd had started to cheer for Roman. They wanted Jay to tag in Roman, and it seemed like he was going to do just that. But instead, Jay decided to be a bit of an asshole and kind of faked out a tag to Roman and tagged in his brother. And even his brother was confused, like, what the fuck are you doing? They started to argue in the middle of the match there between the three of them. Um, over your thoughts on that little situation that happened between Jay and Roman?
Uh, this is something. I mean, I correlate this as alongside with the entrances as well. We saw, the bloodline, the OG bloodline, come out separately from Jay, and I feel like that was like a big show of respect from Roman to Jay. Not only storyline, but I think within you know being coworkers, I feel like that's like a big show of respect towards the storyline that they're building. But also that leads into the match, like you said, there was a little bit of tension. I predicted this last week. We would see the tension the same way that we were gonna see it, or that we did see it in the Cody Roman tag team, and we did see it. We saw it here from Jay and Roman, and I thought this is a way of Jay testing the waters of Roman to see how patient he really is, and if he really does respect him as an individual and not just as a lackey. So I love seeing this. You could see Roman, you could see in his face that he was like, okay, I see it. I see what's happening. And I think that throughout the match, he gained a lot of respect for Jay. Not that he didn't have it before, but just to see him evolve and finally take the ring the way he is doing it now. I think Roman saw a lot of that during this match.
Sure, I was a little in real time when I saw it happen. I like yelled at the TV. I was like, "Jay, what the fuck are you doing?" Like, bro, relax. I just thought it was unnecessary on Jay's behalf. We're trying to mend family ties here again. We're in the middle of a match. I just thought it was completely unnecessary storyline wise for that to happen in the middle of the match. Like, I get it. Don't get me wrong, and I thought it was funny. But I was like, bro, we're fighting fucking Solo, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga. We got to take this shit serious. Got to be on the same page here. But clearly, like you said, Jay was testing Roman's patience. And great thing that you brought up that they actually did have the separate entrances for this match. Roman and Jimmy had came out together, but Jay, of course, came out on his own. And I was I was happy for Jay, and I almost couldn't believe that that was the case because when the last time we saw these three guys together on the same side, they would walk out together with their championships in hand, the ones up in the sky. So I had automatically thought that that's what we were gonna get, and when I saw Roman and Jimmy walk out together, I was excited for Jay, and like you said, it's a big sign of respect. I'm sure for Roman and Jay to give him that go ahead because I'm sure that was a discussion backstage. Um, but nah, Jay's on fire. The crowd loves him everywhere he goes right now. So shout out to Jay for continuing to build that heat for himself. But speaking of Jay here, throughout the match, it was actually Jay who finally tagged in Roman Reigns for the one time that he was actually in this match. Roman only was in the ring for about 3 to 4 minutes towards the end of this one here. And the way this match ended was with Tonga accidentally taking out the referee, which allowed Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa to really get the advantage on Roman Reigns. Fatu hit unleash the full fucking clip on Roman in the last minute of this match. He hit him with like a suicide dive, a whisper in the winds, just absolutely was fucking Roman up. Threw him in the middle of the ring for Solo. Solo hit two nasty Samoan spikes, and that gave the ref enough time to recover. And Roman there, Solo won the match for his side of the bloodline and the family. Um, what were your thoughts on that finish there? With Solo being the one to finally put Roman and the old bloodline down.
Again, I think it's important that we start building up Solo as this monster villain, or at least give him some type of credibility as a heel, because again, he is the one that's going to be showing up, showing his face on TV week by week, not The Rock. If we're going with the storyline where The Rock is the mastermind behind it all, you're going to need a foot soldier, and I think Solo's doing a great job at being that foot soldier right now. He's definitely come around to owning his character. I feel like he was kind of in a slump and he was a little bit lost there for a second post Roman departure, just because I think that the responsibility that was thrust upon him was just a little bit too much for him to bear. But I think that with the right support, the right people behind him, he's finally pushing the boundaries of what he can do, and he's really starting to outshine. And we called it last week. The villains didn't need to, or the heroes did not need to win this match, and the villains stood on top. And making Solo and Jacob, not that you need to make Jacob look any more vicious, but making Solo and Jacob look this vicious is great for the storyline going into Survivor Series.
Most definitely not. Solo is on fire at this moment. Um, and I thought the two Samoan spikes he hit to close this match off were great. They look fantastic. Roman sold them really fucking well. Roman does a great job of selling, by the way. I must say.
He does.
He's
He does.
he's been doing a great job recently. He does it for Cody, for Solo. He's been great in that aspect of being in the ring. But after Solo had pinned Roman, course, the bloodline wasn't done. They wanted to celebrate Jacob Fatu placing the Ulafala on Solo's neck, forcing Roman to watch while he was recovering from the Samoan spike combo there. But Roman, of course, reached out in frustration, and that's when the new bloodline started to jump on Roman and the other twins. Um, they started to clean up the announce table, and Solo told Tonga Loa and Jacob Fatu to pick up Roman. We were going to get to the triple power bomb through the announce table. But of course, Jay came in to flying in and saved Roman and bought him some more time. But the Bloodline 2.0 was simply too strong for Jay. They set him in the middle of the ring and they were about to take Jay out with the neck, was placing his head between the chair, the same way that they took out Jimmy Uso a few months back. And that is when all hell broke loose in Saudi Arabia because none other than Sami Zayn came out to save the day. When you heard Sammy's music pop, what was your initial reaction there?
I mean, I think I was excited as you. I popped out of my seat. I was like, "It's finally happening!" You know, here we go. We're getting the starts of this reunion. But at the same time, you know, that little doubt started settling in my head. Like, what if he's coming out and being a part of Solo's side? So at this point, I didn't know what to expect. What were your thoughts? I actually do want to go a little bit back, and I want to get your thoughts on because it was a big pivotal moment. I think it was an important scene to actually witness. Roman just desperately reaching up to grab the Ulafala. What were your feelings when you saw him in such a vulnerable state, being such a big Roman fan?
Think he's sick right now. I was sick for Roman, man. I was like, damn, that brother's starving. He's not used to losing. He's not used to losing, and it feels like he's lost in recent memory. The majority of his matches, he's lost to Cody at WrestleMania. This is only his second match back since his return, losing. So he's lost more in the last 6 months than he's lost in the last 4 years. And so I think he sees that desperation there, and which is why seeing Sammy come back out. It's funny that you say that. It's funny that we bring up Sammy, and I remember last week you thought Sammy might have been siding with Solo here. Um, but when Sammy came out, he stepped between Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, and Jey Uso, and Solo tried to talk to Sammy. He was like, "Yo, what are you doing, bro? Like, you always gonna have a spot with my family. Come over here, come give me a hug." And I thought that shit was hilarious. Solo opened his arms, and of course Sammy looked back at Jay. He looked to the crowd. He opened his arms like he was gonna hug Solo. The crowd was confused. Sammy then hit the exploder suplex on Solo Sokoa, and Saudi again fucking lost it. And I thought that was a great moment for them there. Saudi loves Sammy, so we knew we were gonna get some sort of interaction, but we didn't. I didn't think that this was Sammy coming out here. I always thought it was gonna be The Rock or somebody else from that side of the bloodline, but seeing Sammy come out here was fantastic. I was excited. I'm glad that he decided to stick with his original brothers there. And hit that exploder suplex. The way this interaction ended, of course, was once that suplex was hit, the heroes, Roman, Jimmy, Jay, got it up. They fought off the bloodline 2.0, except for Solo Sokoa. So Jimmy, Roman, Jay, and Sammy were surrounding Solo there. Solo was looking around, scared, telling them to calm down, to relax. And that's when Roman and Sammy respectively went for a spear and a haluva kick. Solo got out of the way, having Sammy kick Roman dead in the jaw, and all hell broke loose between the original bloodline. What were your thoughts on Sammy kicking Roman there? Do you think he did it on purpose, or you think that was an accident?
No, I think this was an accident. I think it's just to build that tension. Because we haven't seen an on-camera tension between Sammy and Roman yet. We've seen it between Jimmy and Sammy these past couple weeks leading into it. That's why Jimmy doesn't really trust him. And I feel like Jay's still on the border, you know. I feel like Jay does trust him, but he's still kind of on the border. He's keeping Sammy kind of at arm's reach. He wants his brother back, but he doesn't know if he can fully trust him. But like I said, I don't think we've seen that on-screen tension between Roman and Sammy, and I think having him kick Roman brings up that tension, and it'll be great for if he does show up on SmackDown. I know we'll get to that in a bit, but this is all just setting up for Survivor Series, which gets me interested. You said we always imagined that The Rock was the one that was going to pop it in this position, but it was Sammy instead to progress this storyline, which I'm not mad at. I'm completely fine with because it's producing really good storylines. But that presents the question: when does The Rock show up if he's going to be a part of the Survivor Series storyline? So I enjoyed this. I want to see where this goes. I love Sammy, and I love the the social media post that kind of ran wild a couple days ago. I don't know if you were going to bring that up, but it's been some pretty entertaining banter between social media and the show.
Definitely. No, Sammy's always a character that the crowd loves, that the fans watching on TV are able to relate with. So I am happy to see him back with the Bloodline. I thought that's when he was at his best. He was having his best comedic work. So I'm excited to have those interactions back. And like you said, hopefully we see Sammy appear on SmackDown this week. We'll talk a little bit about that later. The haluva kick to Roman, though, I love that twist. We couldn't just have Sammy come back after having that conversation he had with Jimmy and Jey Uso last Monday night when Jay basically told Sammy like you're not even family, bro. Remember that. That to this day that still hurts. Um so we still have some relationship to mend there, some bridges to fix between Sammy and the rest of the bloodline, especially Jimmy and Roman. Because when Sammy connected his boot to Roman's jaw there, Jimmy was pissed. Jimmy was thought that he had did it on purpose. Um, Sammy immediately looked conflicted and sad because all he was trying to do was help his former family there. Um, and so I'm just excited to see how they continue to play their relationship out and how we're able to make this bond stronger because it's going to be stronger at the end of this battle. They're going to be stronger for going through this as a family. And Sammy will no longer be an honorary Uso. He will be Sammy Uso. But moving forward after this match here, we got one of my favorite matches of the night that I thoroughly enjoyed. And I'm going to be honest with you. Getting into it, I wasn't, too excited. I wasn't really feeling it. Um, but the women's tag match, Damage Control versus Lash Legend, Jakara Jackson, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and of course the women's tag champions, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I want to start off by saying the last few times that we've seen Jade Cargill wrestle, I've made a comment about how many times she's been emoting, doing her little her double flex. I made a note to myself prior to the match that I thought she would emote over 3 times. Surprisingly, she emoted, I think it was just once or twice, if I'm not mistaken. I would
Oh.
have lost that bet to myself. She's cleaning it up. I thought she actually had a great match here. But the MVP of this match for me and the team that absolutely was outstanding was Io Sky and Kyrie Sane in Damage Control. And the second best team here were Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, two NXT women that have made their way to a WWE pay per view within the month that they kind of got brought up to the main roster. What were your overall thoughts on this match? And how did you feel about Lash Legends and Jakara Jackson's performance here in their debut for a WWE pay per view?
I think this match has potential to actually claim match of the night here. I think all these ladies did amazing. They all really showed out, and I think they all definitely proved that they deserve on this a spot on this card as much as any of the men in the back. Like you said, Metaphor, they're the NXT kind of underdogs right now, and I think they did a phenomenal job going overseas and showing out. I definitely think that we're getting a push to the main roster for them soon. I don't see why not. They're being able to hold their own with the tag teams up in the main roster, so why keep having them face people down in NXT? Um, Jade and Bianca, it seems like we're starting to see some struggle between that tag team. I think we predicted that a couple weeks ago, or maybe even longer than that. We've been seeing these small waves between them. um, we have a couple female mid card titles coming in the future, and I think these two would be perfect for those. So if they lost the belts to someone soon, I wouldn't be mad about that, especially if it is going to be someone like Damage Control, because, like you said, these ladies are always phenomenal. They were phenomenal tonight, and I think that that's why um, Io Sky was a representative for WWE overseas and a recent Japanese pay per view, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, is just because her talent is phenomenal, and I think she proved it in this match. Um, all these ladies, though, all around, I think they all showed out. None of them all of them had their spots, and none of them let any of us down. And I think it's just because they had something to prove. I feel like that crowd isn't as welcoming to the female crowds. And over the years, they have been more welcoming. Um, and they were cheering. They were cheering during this match, and I feel
They
like
were.
they even got into it. So it's nice
They
to see that
did.
there's some change happening over there, and hopefully this provides the females a bigger stepping stone for bigger matches in the future during these pay per views.
100%. Dude, Bianca and Io Sky, those two women together in the ring, their chemistry is insane. They've been in the ring together a few times over the course of the last month or so, or just the last couple months. And any time that they're in there together, they just absolutely tear their house down. Bianca's so talented as well. Like her and Io are on leagues of their own. And I think it's great for Jade that she's been paired up with Bianca, and it's been great for her character and her story and her development in the WWE since she's gotten there, and she's clearly taken steps to get better, and I think she's gotten a lot better. I think this was probably one of her better matches in my personal opinion. And like I said, she stopped demoting so much, so clearly she's buying time. She's killing some time with actual move sets and wrestling. So shout out to her. I think she's improved greatly there. Still room for improvement, of course, but I think being paired with Bianca has helped. But in that sense, it also sucks to see Bianca not in the main title picture because her talent is out of this world. So I am excited for the potential breakup of Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair when it does happen. And I hope both women, maybe Jade could go for the mid card title and Bianca could go back chasing the main women's or WWE Women's World Heavyweight Championship against Rhea Ripley. Like we haven't gotten that in those interactions yet, or that feud. Like Rhea Ripley and Bianca, that's gonna be great whenever that happens. So uh like you were saying, shout out to the women. They killed this match here. It was one of my favorite matches. We will see if this is ultimately your match of the night. But Bianca and Jade, of course, retain their titles here. Um, I didn't. I don't think we had. I think we both agreed that they were going to win this match. Correct?
No, I played the dumb card and I went with the
Uh,
underdog.
you're right. I'm tripping because I said Damage Control was going to win.
You
You're
did.
right. You're right. We both lost here. We
I
were
think
both
I
wrong
only
in this
got two
prediction.
wrong. I think this was one of them. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. So shout out to Jade and Bianca for winning that match. They retain. Jakara Jackson, Lash Legend, absolutely killed it as well. Hopefully, those two are believable. Is a believable team to take the titles off of Jade and Bianca. If I must say so myself. I think Lash Legend. Uh, I didn't realize like how big she is and how she's so much bigger than Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill is huge. She's like 6'1",
Yeah.
and I don't know what Lash needs to be on the WNBA court grabbing some fucking rebounds because she's a big body, um, like a big body. So she could easily be playing a different sport right now. But I think they are a believable choice if they decide to go that route to dethrone Bianca and Jade Cargill in the near future.
I mean, not only like you said, Bianca can go off and she can compete for these mid card titles, and Bianca can go for the bigger titles. But if you bring someone in like a Lash Legend, she has the size and she has the talent to be um fed to these bigger wrestlers that really do need bigger girls to wrestle with them. Like we discussed a couple weeks ago, you need a Raquel Rodriguez to face someone like a Rhea Ripley. Lash Legend, I think, fits perfectly inside the description too. I feel like you can put her up against a Jade Cargill, against a Bianca, a Rhea Ripley, a Raquel, and I feel like you can really get good matches out of her, and you can have her train to wrestle those big styles. I was just listening to the Undertaker podcast, and he had Omos on there, and they were talking about how if Undertaker was still in the company, he'd be grooming Omos to be taking over the Undertaker's position and teaching him how to wrestle in that style. And I feel like when Lash Legend comes in, some of those bigger girls really need to get to her and be like, this is how you should be wrestling with your size. And there's no better teacher than someone like a Rhea Ripley or a Bianca to teach her that kind of stuff. I feel like Jade Cargill has improved because of a Bianca Belair being in her side. She was the hot new toy, and everybody wanted to see her wrestle, and it was a perfect thing to, pair her next to one of the bigger stars in the WWE that could really get her those eyes and also fix some of the issues that she had coming in.
Most definitely. What a just a great match overall here that I thoroughly enjoyed. Um, we're gonna continue to see these women progress, and I am excited to see where Damage Control heads after this, as well as Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. Following this match here was one that I was not too happy about. I think we both had Bronson Reed taking the victory at Crown Jewel against Seth Rollins. But Mr. Triple H and Seth Rollins had different fucking plans for Bronson, which made no sense to me. But this match here was just a heavy hitting battle between two fantastic wrestlers. I This match actually started very interestingly because during Bronson Reed's entrance, Seth wasted no time and ran up the ramp to meet him. Uh, or just fucking duking it out before the bell even rung. Um, but ultimately, Bronson was just way too big for Seth to get the jump on him, and he sent them into the ring. Referee rang the bell. Bronson hit a tsunami in like fucking 30 seconds, bro. And I was like, no way. They're gonna have Bronson squash Seth. That's sick as fuck. I was hyped. He hits the tsunami. Bro goes for a second tsunami. And then Seth gets out the way. And I was pissed. I was like, oh, bro, they missed the opportunity. I think he missed the tsunami. So Seth got up and he hit him with a curb stomp and went for the pin, but Bronson wasn't having it. He kicked out. Um, and then after that, the match just turned into big spots. There was a spot where Bronson, I think, hit like a fucking suplex from the top rope, pinned Seth Rollins. Seth kicked out. Like they were just going back and forth here. Every fucking move was thrown out. Seth hit a pedigree. I haven't seen him hit a pedigree in a while, but fucking Bronson was way too huge. Pause for that pedigree to do anything to him. And yeah, they were just throwing their fucking haymakers. This ultimately ended with a fucking a super curb stomp. I think Seth hit like three curb stomps. He hit a regular curb stomp, if I'm not mistaken. Then he hit. There was two curb stomps before the super curb stomp. The super curb stomp was him jumping up to the top rope and curb stomp on Bronson Reed from the top rope, putting that brother down and winning the match. And I was pissed, bro. I was so pissed because why? What the fuck did we have Bronson Reed build up built up for the last 2 months? Like we saw him hit 7 tsunamis on Seth on live television, almost killed him, had that brother bleeding from the mouth. What are we on about? What were your thoughts on the decision making here and just the match in general?
I mean, my main note on my notes for this match is fuck this match. I think everybody knows that I was going to be upset with this turnout, just because going into it, I was a big um, advocator for Bronson Reed just completely squashing Seth Rollins. I felt like that would do leaps and bounds more for Bronson than it would do Seth. I mean, I've said it before. Whatever Seth does, we're going to pay attention. Seth is a phenomenal wrestler and he draws eyes. So sometimes for him to lose to someone new isn't terrible. And I have no idea why they went against that decision here. Not to say that this match was horrible. I'll give it its flowers. This match was great. I feel like these boys went out there and, like you said, they just hit every fucking big spot that they could in the time that they had, and they wanted to give that Saudi crowd that heavy hitting match. And I think it was fine for what it was. But like you said, building up Bronson Reed just to have him lose like this, you could have had him win and have that caveat that he beat an ex world champion. So now he can see himself as a viable competitor for anyone with the belt. But instead, you have Seth beat him, and you have Bronson Reed lift his head up menacingly like he's fucking in a Michael Bay movie. So I have no fucking idea why they went with this decision. Bronson Reed should have definitely won this match, leading him into something bigger. At the end of the day, I don't think this hurts Bronson Reed at all. I feel like people are still behind Bronson. I feel like they still want to see Bronson succeed. But you could have done, like I said, leaps and bounds for him with this, and you decided to go against it. Why? I don't know. So in the next couple of matches, I would like to see the answer of why. If it was for Seth's push, show me what push was worth it to not have Bronson win this match. But if you're gonna have him lose and give him a reward in some other way, show it to us. Because if you don't, then I completely disagree with your decision on this match.
Yeah, I just want to see where they head with Bronson Reed after this. But we actually found out the way this match ended right after the way this match ended. Bronson got it up and he like gave Seth a death stare. So you can hear Seth mumble the words like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Bronson was just like pissed in the middle of the ring, and we just knew that this wasn't going to be the last of these two. I didn't think it was gonna happen so quickly though. We're definitely gonna get another match here. Maybe at Survivor Series, maybe at Saturday night's main event, that pay-per-view in December. But we're definitely getting a second match between Bronson and Seth, where Bronson better fucking win. Because if they have another match and Seth beats him again, yeah, nah, bro. We're not having that, bro. Bronson needs that win. Also, I would be remiss to not mention the fact that Bronson Reed had some pretty sick ring gear this pay-per-view with the MF Doom tribute. Did you catch that there?
100%. I love MF Doom, so that fit to me was everything. That shit is sick. You can actually buy it. The guy that makes the singlets for a couple of the wrestlers posted on his Instagram, and he is now selling it on his store. I think that shit's sick. If anyone wrestles and they want to grab it, definitely get it. It's a sick piece to have in your collection.
Yeah, that's dope as fuck. Yeah, they watching him do that for I think it was his debut pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken. Was pretty sick. Great, great way to pay homage to MF Doom. That even bro, I don't know what rapper he's gonna put on his fucking singlet when he gets his rematch, but it better be somebody. Because that was some bullshit. I was upset about that. But I guess congratulations to Seth for hitting fucking 3 curb stomps on the man, putting him down for 3 seconds. But following that match, we get Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan for the Women's Crown Jewel Championship, the inaugural championship there. Talk about a David versus Goliath. This was Liv versus a behemoth all throughout this fucking match. It was really just Nia using her size to her advantage, of course. How could you not? But the match to me felt a little sloppy. It's very difficult, like, bro. It's very fucking difficult, maybe even impossible, to have me believe that a woman Liv Morgan's size, maybe she's 5'2", maybe she's 5'3", don't know. Nia Jax, about 5'11", 5'10", maybe, just tripling Liv Morgan in terms of weight. Like, bro, this on paper, on fucking paper, this is a sweep. She beats her ass in 4 seconds. But that wasn't the case here, of course. For the most part, though, I would say they allowed Nia to have the advantage until Liv Morgan hit a sunset power bomb on Nia for like half a fucking second, if any. Did Liv Morgan have Nia Jax on her shoulders for a power bomb for like half a second, if any? Um, and that is when we get the Tiffany Stratton theme music to hit. Thought she was cashing this bitch in. I thought we were finally gonna get it. We were finally gonna get Tiffy time as the fucking champion. Um, Nia immediately gets up, starts to argue with Tiffany. Liv takes advantage of this argument and this distraction. She hits a missile drop kick. Nia hit her with an elbow and a Samoan drop, and then it hits another Samoan drop on Liv. And that's when Tiffany tried to cash in her contract, but Raquel Rodriguez showed up to stop it alongside Mr. Dirty Dom himself. Liv took advantage of this distraction and hit Nia with a code breaker from the top rope. Nia recovered and placed Liv perfectly for an annihilator, but Dom grabbed Tiffany's briefcase and distracted the referee. Raquel hit a boot to Nia's skull. Liv then hit the oblivion on Nia and pinned her for the win. And Liv was the first women's crown jewel champion. Liv had gotten the assist, of course, from Raquel and Dom. Overall, I just thought this was a sloppy match. Way too much going on. Tiffany didn't get to cash in, which I thought was bullshit. I like stop having her run out. Because now I'm just getting annoyed. Like just don't have her run out. If she's gonna not cash in, what the fuck is she running out for? Just let
Don't
her
even show
relax
up.
backstage. Bro, don't even dead ass. Like don't even show up. Also, you know what they used to do when they used to cash in? They used to not play the fucking theme music. They used to just run in that bitch because you're surprising them. You're catching them off guard. Stop telegraphing your next move. Please, I get it. You get the pop. But it would be so much better if a dark hooded figure just appears somewhere. They take it off. It's Tiffany Stratton. Oh shit, she has her briefcase. I think that would be better. But telegraphing that, oh, I'm coming down this ramp and I'm about to cash in on your dumbass. You're giving them a second to recover. Like that makes no sense to me. I'm just pissed she didn't cash in. What are your overall thoughts on this? When if you had to bet money, when is she cashing in? If you had to pick a moment, a pay-per-view, by when is Tiffany cashing in her goddamn contract?
Hmm. That's a tough one. Let's get to the match first. I feel like you're kind of on the right path. I think this match was a little bit sloppy, but I'll play devil's advocate. I think, like you said, it's a little hard to have Liv versus Nia be believable, but I think these two ladies did it the best that they could, especially with the improvements that Nia has done with her arsenal of moves and the growth that Liv has shown us over the past couple years. I feel like they did the best that they could with the situation. The winner of this really didn't matter. It just mattered for the winner of the belt slash a ring that they were going to be awarded to, because these two ladies weren't going to be going up against each other past this. You know, it's clear to us now that Tiffy versus Naya is going to be the plan to go. Leaving Liv open with her number one contender match that happened on Raw, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, it looks like Tiffy and Naya is the way we're gonna go. When does it happen? I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to set up some type of, if she's gonna cash in on Naya, we're gonna have to set up some type of temporary feud for Naya so that she can do it, because the only other way I can see is her having like a random match on a weekly show and her showing up. I don't know if that's what they want to do or if they do want to save it for a pay per view. If they save it for a pay per view, then I would imagine it would happen at Survivor Series since that's the one coming up. But I can see them just popping it at a weekly show, and I'm completely fine with that because, like you said, I we love that surprise factor, and I feel like if you do it at a weekly show as opposed to a pay per view, it's kind of more of a shock because we don't really get too many of those. You know, they normally like to keep them for big pay per views. So having it happen on a weekly show wouldn't be too bad either. Like I said, when does it happen? I'm not really sure. It's kind of tricky to see until we get the shows back on normal schedule here in the States and we see how they want to progress with this storyline.
I don't know if it's gonna happen at Survivor Series. Um, I had to bet. I think it would happen at or before Saturday night main event in the middle of this. But it's about goddamn time she cashes in this fucking contract because I'm tired of seeing her run out. And with the amount of time she's ran out and hasn't cashed in, she might be prone to failing when she
Mm-hmm.
does fucking get the chance to cash in, and that would suck. That would absolutely blow my mind. But I would not be doing Dominic Mysterio. His I would not be giving him his rightful dues and props because last week on Friday Night SmackDown, prior to the Crown Jewel episode, Tiffany Stratton Liv were exchanging words. Tiffany had said, "Hey, Liv, if I decide to cash this shit in on you tomorrow, does that mean I get Dominic too?" That brother, his eyes lit up. He
He
almost lost his
keeps
cool there.
winning.
And I just wanted to shout that out, shout out to Dom. Clearly he's doing something right.
He just keeps
Uh
winning.
but he was gonna leave there with something had it been Liv cashing in, or I mean sorry, retaining, or had it been Tiffany cashing in. He was leaving there with something. Um, but overall, congratulations to Liv Morgan for becoming the first women's world champion. Triple H has loved and nurtured Liv Morgan over the course of her career since joining the main roster. I must say he's one of her favorites. I would think one of Money in the Bank. She beat Ronda Rousey for the championship. She's now the first women's crown jewel champion. She got the big Tom Brady ring. Um, yeah, I must say he be showing her a lot of love. A lot of love.
Yeah, I want to give Liv props. I didn't get to give her props. She's had a phenomenal year. She's had a phenomenal, I guess, couple years, maybe 2 years now, where she's been going on this amazing run where she's really just carved her own pathway through, even with a gimmick that a lot of people didn't fuck with at the beginning. I feel like people really have come around to it now, whether you love it or hate it. She's on top right now, and people dig it. It produces good storylines. It's been good TV. The way that she was able to flip the attention from Rhea to her, and also not even be able to feel the effects of missing Rhea Ripley, it just shows how big of a superstar she's become. So props to her. Congratulations on winning the first ever Crown Jewel champion. I personally would think that you 100% deserve it at this point, just based off the year that you've had and the storylines you've been able to produce, keeping us entertained week by week. So, congratulations, Liv.
Oh, most definitely. And she's a star. Like, don't get it twisted. She is like Rhea Ripley's a superstar when it comes to the women's division. Charlotte Flair superstars. But in her own way, Liv has become one of the major faces of the company. She's always doing like the interviews. And she has a great personality. Like she's done like the sneaker shopping shits with Joe LaPuma on Complex.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's done stuff like that, and I think she's like you said, she came in with the Jersey girl, like Italian kind of gimmick, wearing the hats, the high socks, and then she's like slowly started showing her personality a little bit more, and that blossom. Uh, I wouldn't say superstardom yet, but in a sense, she's getting there. If she's not there already. Um, she's killing it. So shout out, yeah, she's doing great. She's gotten better in the ring too. Um, and Rhea and her, they put on some solid matches. So shout
Mm-hmm.
out to the both of them there, and we will see where she takes her championship next. But after that match, we get what was supposed to be Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. Now we went in here. I think we were disagreeing. I said I don't believe it. I don't believe Randy should be scared of Kevin Owens. You said I was undermining uh, the ability of KO. I mean, after this interaction that we had here, I would say I guess you were right. We didn't even end up having a match here because before the match could start, when Randy was hitting his pose at the top of the turnbuckle, Kevin Owens made his way to the ring with a chair and he hit Randy in the legs. He was trying to absolutely destroy Randy Orton before the match even started. He took him to the announce table. Um, was gonna hit him with a suplex or a power bomb. But Randy stood his ground. He was able to drop Kevin into the announce table, and that's when um Kevin and Randy started going back and forth. Kevin ran him into the steps. They were just fighting all over the ring. The referees came out. They tried to stop it. Fucking Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis both came out and tried to get in between them. Randy Orton hilariously hit an RKO on Adam Pearce. Shout out to Adam Pearce for taking an RKO there. Um, and Randy Orton and KO just decided to fight each other through the arena. They stayed on the first floor of the arena there by the fans in the audience. They found their way to a staircase where Kevin Owens had set Orton on top of two tables. KO climbed up to the second floor of the staircase, climbed up to the ledge, and hit a fucking swanton bomb. And Randy Orton died. And we haven't heard of him since. And that is how that ended. There was no match. At no point did the bell ever ring. Um, they decided to go this route, which was an interesting choice. How did you feel about this decision and them not even ringing the bell here? Did you like the fact that they didn't have a match and they went with uh this route?
I love this spot. Triple H warned Randy Orton. I warned you, and no one listened. And finally, the KO of old, the KO that just has this vicious instinct for fucking brutality came out, and he just completely gave it to Randy Orton. Pause. I think these two knocked it out of the park. I think the fucking swanton off of it to kill Randy Orton and end the segment. I think this was great. I think it took up just the right amount of time in the pay per view. It didn't go too short. It didn't go too long. We didn't even get the bell rung, like you said. This was never even a fucking match. This was just them two going at it. And I think Kevin Owens is now in the right mindset to finally face Cody Rhodes and even potentially win against Cody Rhodes. It'll be interesting to see the storyline that KO takes going forward. Like I said, we were just waiting for Conjure to pass so that we could start building up these storylines. And I feel like a storyline between these three, Cody, KO, and Randy, leading into Survivor Series just fuels a better Survivor Series. Survivor Series is always about these intense feuds between either two factions or best friends or even sometimes two members of a tag team. So I think we're building this up perfectly. I feel like having the OG Bloodline versus the Bloodline 2.0 on that card is going to be great. And if we get something between these three to settle this beef, I think that's going to be great. So overall, this spot I can't say it was match of the night because it wasn't even a match, but this spot was definitely something I loved seeing.
I am just disappointed in Randy Orton. I'm just disappointed in his dog in him there. I just didn't see it. I thought we were gonna get the Viper. We didn't get shit. Um, this is a Randy Orton truther, as a believer, as a fan. Uh, just I just can't believe it, man. He let me down on Saturday in Saudi Arabia,
I told you we're dealing with a different
and
Randy, and you don't want to listen, bro.
this comes after him eyeing the WWE Championship. Like, come on, brother, you can't even beat Kevin Owens. Like, come
Ah,
on,
come
bro,
on.
get it together,
Again,
get it together.
the
But I
disrespect
guess
against Kevin Owens' name, bro.
I mean, Kevin Owens is gonna end up trying to kill Sami Zayn once he sees Sami
Oh, 100%.
align with the bloodline. He's gonna fucking lose it. So we're gonna get that too. We're gonna have to wait and see where when Randy comes out of his coma following that attack and what Kevin Owens decides to do this week on Friday Night SmackDown. But the next match here was the triple threat: Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes versus LA Knight. This was for the United States Championship. I thought the Saudi crowd really enjoyed this match here. Andrade and Carmelo Hayes have put on a show for the last 2 to 3 months on Friday Night SmackDowns during their the series of matches they've been having with each other. LA Knight has interjected himself in that feud, and we finally get the culmination of that here in Saudi Arabia. What were your thoughts on the match overall here?
If I remember correct, this match was a little shorter than most of the other matches on the card. I'm not mad at this match. I feel like these three always, when you put them in the ring, they'll produce magic, and I feel like the match was okay. I wouldn't say it was anything to rival any of the matches in this storyline or in these series between Andrade and Carmelo. I would say that it left me just yearning for more. I love to see LA Knight on top, but it just left me with more questions for, who's the number one contender? Who's still better? Is it Melo or is Andrade? We still don't have a clear decisive winner in that feud, and I would like to know that sooner than later. Um,
Definitely.
I don't know where we go with LA Knight from here. I don't know if we're just gonna wait for those two to settle their feud and then feed the winner to LA, or if we're past them, if they're gonna settle their beef on their own and LA Knight's gonna start a new feud. I wouldn't mind if LA Knight stepped away and started a new feud. I feel like he's done what he can with these two, and I feel like it's time for us to see our U.S. champion face other people. But like I said, I do want to see a decisive winner from Andrade and Melo, and that's what I'm waiting for. Overall, this match was, I would say, it's a solid match. It just wasn't anything special in this card.
I definitely need to see game 7 between Carmelo, Hayes, and Andrade. We need to see it. Nick Aldis, make it happen, please. Um, because we need a conclusion to that story there. In terms of where LA Knight heads next, so he did win and retain his championship in Saudi. Luckily for him, he also the way that finish went, it was Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. Carmelo was trying, I think, to hit like a Hurricane Rana or reverse a certain move in the middle of the ring on Andrade, and LA Knight perfectly um was able to catch both Carmelo and Andrade mid move and hit them both with a double BFT. I thought that was a pretty cool uh that was a cool spot and a great finish for LA Knight. And yeah, like you said, I do want to see him move forward to a different opponent. Who would it be? Santos Escobar, I wouldn't be mad at, but they already did that feud. Who else is on SmackDown that I would like to see take on LA Knight? Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, but they're in the middle of being a fucking tag team. So I wouldn't mind it. Austin was a former United States champion himself, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but we'll see. This Friday night, we'll see what's next for LA Knight. I thought this was one of the better matches personally, so I guess we would have to disagree there. I'm a big fan of Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. The two have killed it, like I said. Don't want to beat a dead horse, but I thoroughly enjoyed this match. But finally, what we've all been waiting for, what we were so nervous about in regards to the way they were going to finish this match here. Cody Rhodes and Gunther for the WWE Men's Crown Jewel Championship. I must say I was a little disappointed in this match.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I was expecting too much. I don't know what I was dreaming of, but I was just a little disappointed in the match itself. I think Gunther has put on better matches recently for my liking. His pacing with people like Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, I've enjoyed more. Even with Damian Priest, I thought that match was. I think that match was better than the Cody and Gunther match here. Would you agree or disagree? The match that they had at SummerSlam.
If it was better than this match, yes.
Yes.
I
Okay.
would
So
say
maybe
if
I'm
you
not.
are looking at it through the eyes of a fan that wanted a spectacle of a match, I feel like you're in the right direction.
Yeah, I think that's what I wanted out of these here. Champion versus champion here, of course. But they had a back and forth. No one really. I guess I would give Gunther the advantage for the majority of this match. I think Gunther was getting the better of Cody Rhodes throughout here, putting him in his submission holds, really just toying with Cody here and there. Cody, of course, had moments of just pockets of momentum that he would find. Um, Ultimately, the way this match ended, though, was Cody was going for like a super Cody cutter from the top rope, and Gunther had caught him in the fucking. Am I forgetting the name of this move? Help me out here, sir.
Which move? The Cody Cutter.
No, the Gunther's lock, his submission hold.
Oh, I don't remember what that's called.
But
I know
fucking
what you're
Gunther
talking
put him in
about, but
his yeah, Gunther put him in the headlock. But Cody had forced his momentum since he was jumping from the turnbuckle. He forced his momentum upwards, and he the pin on Gunther in a roll up, and that's how he won. And Gunther was fucking furious. I would have been furious too, Gunther, because I had my money on you. What were your thoughts on the way that match ended there?
so I think I was on the opposite side of the spectrum on this match. I feel like I wasn't expecting a spectacle. I got what I kind of figured was going to happen. Um, Both of these guys are amazing. I think that goes without saying. I knew that this match was going to be a little more technical. It's the way that Cody likes to wrestle, and it's a way that Gunther. I almost said Walter because when he was Walter, this is kind of a form of style that he used to like wrestling. He liked the slower pace, the heavy hitters, the grapples, and I feel like he's changed his style, but quite a bit in the WWE to be more aggressive and quicker in the ring to demonstrate that not only does he have the size, but he can also perform in the ring. So going into this match, I knew this was going to be a very technical match. I knew that this was going to bore half the audience, to be fair, just because the audience really, from what I've seen over the years, they don't really fuck with these technical matches where it's a lot of, holds going into other holds or slipping out of holds, moving into moves. Um, and I feel like because of the two names presented, everyone just expected a barn burner. These guys are going to go out there, they're going to kill the house, they're going to do the big moves, we're going to get all the loud cheering. And that's not what we got. And I feel like that's fine because, like I said, this was for a belt that is going to stay there. And I want to see the match that you envisioned for a belt that actually matters in the company. So this just got me more excited for seeing them wrestle in the future, potentially when they're both a little bit better, and we'll potentially get that barn burner that you were hoping for. But as for
Yeah.
this pay per view, I think that we got the match that they kind of showed us we were gonna get. Like you said, the promo leading up to this match was boring. It was nothing but signs of respect, and I feel like that's what the match was gonna be, and that is what we got. So when it finally comes back to the states, when we really get that shit talking between Gunther and that shit talking between Cody, that's when we'll get the spectacle of of a match that you were expecting.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that. I also think that Gunther had one of his best matches with Randy Orton. That was more of a barn burner there. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought that maybe we were gonna get something similar to that. But it just I was also just upset for Gunther because his whole shtick is being the best professional wrestler in the company. And him taking that loss there to Cody, that's his second loss in WrestleMania. Um, so I was just a little disappointed there, but I get it. I get it. You know, Cody's the face of the company. They don't want him to lose. The WWE Championship is, as much as people don't want to, might not want to admit it, it is the primary championship, the one that Cody holds there. And we always have thought about the World Heavyweight Champion as sort of the secondary one. Uh, and I think they've. It would have been nice to have Gunther beat Cody. It would have been nice to sort of light a fire there. But that's the decision that they've decided to go with, and congratulations to Cody. He is the face of the company. That brother is on fire. Is fucking fire, as they used to say in NBA Jam. And it's going to continue. He's going to continue to cook, and he's. I also just am totally lost on where he's going to go for Survivor Series because I thought he was going to be a part of the Bloodline stuff. I thought he was going to be involved. You still think that's the case there, or where do you see him going as we head to Survivor Series? Who do you think he's facing at that pay per view?
Are we talking about Cody or Gunther?
Cody.
Cody. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of seemed for a while that we might be using Cody as maybe a secret spot in that Survivor Series Bloodline stuff, or at least I had thought that was the case. But it kind of seems like we're separating them for a bit because, like we said, Cody winning this match is just important leading him into the next match versus Roman, because if he would have lost this match, it would have been questionable, you know? If he lost to Gunther, can he really beat Roman? So having him win here was more of a political decision than anything else, you know? You want to keep that face persona up. So I don't think he gets involved in the bloodline storyline for a while. I feel like they got that down pat themselves. Plus, there's a lot of people involved in that already. I don't think we need to be sticking any more third party faction interference in there at the moment. But we will come around back to Cody and the bloodline, because Roman versus Cody has to happen eventually. And like I said, this win I feel like just keeps that security with Cody, seeing him as the top guy, not losing, so that when we finally do get him and Roman, there's no excuses of, you know, why should we be facing each other.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right on the third party action and adding another personality to that storyline. We already have a jam-packed roster full of Samoans there. No need to plug in Cody if he's unnecessary. So no, definitely right on that front. I think maybe we get Kevin Owens at Survivor Series then. He just murdered Randy. Cody might want to avenge his fallen brother and his fallen mentor. And we might get Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. I think that might make the most sense there. Um, so we'll have to wait and see what happens on Friday Night SmackDown tomorrow night. But heading into this week, we also get the conclusion of Crown Jewel. Um, out of 5 jewels, how many jewels would you rank this Crown Jewel pay-per-view?
Out of 5 jewels, I'll give this a, you know, I'm gonna be generous. I'll give it 4 jewels just because it did kind of um I guess supersede my expectations of it originally. But once the build up got there and I expected more, it kind of didn't meet those. But overall, I wouldn't say any of these matches were inherently horrible. Each of them kind of had a moment to shine. So from someone that thought this pay per view really was going to be a dud, it kind of won me over. So I will give it 4 out of 5 crown jewels.
Okay, that's favorable. I would give it 3, maybe 2.75 out of 5 Crown Jewels. Um, there have just been so many better pay-per-views this year, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I thought some of these matches were lackluster, a little disappointing. Um, but I enjoyed the show. It was a fun show. It's one of the Saudi shows, the 2 shows that they do every year there. And like you said, you thought that these weren't pay-per-views that played too much into the canon, to the main storylines of the WWE, sort of just one-offs to see certain matchups. Um, so I thought it was an enjoyable show. I won't go back to watch any of these matches. I was a little upset with some of the decision making that was done here, especially with our boy Bronson Reed. And not having a Kevin Owens match. So I would give it the 2.75 out of 5.
7.5. I think if
Mm.
we go back to this pay per view for anything at all, it'll probably be because, you know, they have a metaphor where they started to where they are now compilation on YouTube. You know, past that, none of these matches are really any matches we'll be talking about in the future. If anything, we'll be talking about the bloodline post match stuff, just because like that goes into other bloodline or other storyline stuff. But overall, yeah, I don't see us talking about this pay per view or most of these matches past this watch.
Yeah, no. Definitely one of the weaker pay-per-views this year. But with that being said, which one was your favorite match of the night?
I think I'm gonna stick to my guns. I think the ladies knocked it out of the park. I feel like Damage Control finally got that moment to shine that they've been desperately seeking for the past couple of months, especially since they suffered some major injuries in Dakota Kai and Asuka. So seeing them shine was nice. Seeing them, I mean, just seeing them perform in general is always a treat to watch. Seeing them at a four girls come up and hold their own against the ladies on the main roster is always nice to see because it shows us that the performance center is working. You know, we're producing bona fide talent down there. So overall, I think the ladies killed it. Like I said earlier in the night, this solidifies that they deserve their place on the card as much as anyone else in the back. So for that reason, the ladies, you guys take the match of the night.
I am upset that I have to agree with you, but I am going to agree with you. And I do believe that these women in the tag championship put on the best match of the night with everything you said. And shout out to Io Sky, one of my personal favorites, man. Whenever, like I said before, whenever she gets in the ring with Bianca Belair, they tear the house down. I that was probably my match of the night, most definitely. And Io Sky MVP. She has my heart. Big fan. Now with Io Sky moving in to Monday Night Raw of this week, we actually get something very interesting that I'm excited to see. But the show started with Liv, Dominic Mysterio, and Raquel Rodriguez. They were in the mat in the middle of the ring celebrating Liv's championship win at Crown Jewel. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair's music then plays, which was interesting. I guess they're just not get. Oh, well, they are the tag championship, so they tag champions, so they can bounce from show to show. Um, they come out to interrupt. They challenge Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez to a tag championship match that night. But of course, Liv and Raquel backed out. Adam Pierce came out before anything really happened between the two teams there. And Pierce made the announcement that tonight they were actually going to be having a women's battle royale to find out who was going to be the number one contender for Liv's championship. Um, and Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair were also included in that royale. The match itself, the battle royale itself, was nothing too crazy. The final four women were Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, Lyra Valkyria, and Io Sky. Um, when it looked like Bianca and Jade had the advantage, Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan ultimately assisted in getting them out of the ring and eliminating them, leaving Lyra and Io Sky battling it out on the side of the apron. And it was when Io Sky hit Lyra with a German suplex on the corner of the apron. That is when she fell off. Io Sky won the match and was the number one. We are gonna get Io Sky versus Liv Morgan. How are you excited for that matchup there? Do you think we get Io Sky possibly taking the championship off of Liv?
This is an interesting one. I am excited to see it because it is going to test Liv to truly see how much she's improved. Io Sky is someone that I think you could talk about in the same vein as you do in AJ Styles. I feel like she has shown herself to be that level of a superstar that you can put her up against anyone and she will make them look good. But she's also a very tough challenger. Right now, we are starting to see, we've been seeing Liv win a lot, but we need to see her be tested. And I feel like EO Sky is going to be that one person that's going to test her. Is she going to beat Liv? I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on what they're going to do with the situation because in one eye, I see it where they can take it and they can feed EO Sky to Liv Morgan. It won't affect EO at the end of the day. She's still part of this faction, part of a tag team. She can go win the tag belts again if she wanted to. Or her talent, like I said, stands alone. She can still vie for a belt somewhere else. If you feed her to Liv, that just makes Liv look more stronger than she already is looking right now. On the other hand, I can see EO being the champion that they want heading into something like Netflix Raw. So I'm kind of on the fence on what they want to do, and leading these next weeks leading into Survivor Series, I think we're gonna start seeing what their plans are and which way we're headed.
I don't think that Io's gonna win the immediate match. If this turns into a bit of a longer feud, maybe not. Maybe Liv retains and continues to retain because I guess the ultimate payoff would be Rhea Ripley getting her revenge. That, of course, is the route they're gonna go. We have heard that they want her to be a baby face. So, what better way to build a baby face by having her get her redemption on the woman that has injured her on paper the last two times? So, they'll probably have Liv retain for a while again, but I am glad Io Sky's in the championship picture. She's fantastic, like I said. So I think she's gonna have a great match with Liv Morgan. She's Io kills it with anyone in the ring, and this will be a great test to see how good Liv has actually improved getting in the ring with someone like Io Sky, who's levels above the competition and one of the better women on the roster. So if this happens at Survivor Series, that's going to be great. They haven't made the announcement yet. I'm not sure. So we'll have to wait and see. But the other important topic that happened on Monday Night Raw was Sami Zayn actually cutting a promo and going out to explain what had happened at Crown Jewel. He came out, said, I came out here to address what happened with me, Roman in the Bloodline. Jay's music immediately starts to play. Jay walks up to Sammy in a very serious manner, um, but Sammy signaled to the crowd to keep singing Jay's theme music. Jay told Sammy, before you say what you need to say, I just need to say thank you for getting my back at Crown Jewel. I need you to be 100% honest with me, though, Oos. I saw the video and I need you to be honest. Was that an accident? And that's when Jimmy Uso's music hit. And Jimmy looked angry. He wasn't in a happy mood at all. He tells Jey Uso, Uso, what's wrong with you? You saw what I saw. Everyone in this whole world saw what we saw. Sami Zayn kicked OTC dead in the face on purpose. I'm pissed. OTC's pissed. You should be pissed too. I find it so funny also that now they're not even referring to Roman as like Roman. They're calling him OTC.
That's
Like, bro,
exactly what I
just
was thinking.
yeah, like bro, just call him Roman, bro. Call him your cousin. Like it's okay. But they gotta sell the merch. I get it. But Sammy and Jimmy start to have a back and forth there, and he reminds Jimmy that he was the one that brought him into the family first. And the second thing started to go bad, Jimmy kicked him in the face, and then he kicked Roman in the face, and then he kicked Jay in the face. And it's always been you, Sammy. I'm not the bad guy here. Uh, Jimmy responds. The Sammy Uso chants start to break out. Jay then steps in. You might not believe this, Jimmy, but I don't. Sorry, Sammy tells Jimmy, you might not believe this, but I don't hate you, bro. I never have. You're not the bad guy, but you make bad decisions. I came out of Crown Jewel for one person, and that was for Jay. I wanted to make sure he was okay. But I'm not going to lie to you. When it was the four of us fighting side by side in this ring, it felt like old times. It felt pretty damn special. For 1 minute, it felt pretty damn good, but that's how quick it lasted. And that's when Sammy tells Jay, he says, Jay, I love you, but I'm sorry. I can't do this again. I'm out. He walked out and made his way up the ramp. Jay stopped him. He says, look, Sammy, I'm asking you, just come to SmackDown so all four of us could talk about it like family do. Jimmy says, he ain't family. Ooh, that brother hurting. He hit him where it hurts, man. Hit him where it hurts. But Jay responds, he steps up, tells Jimmy he was wrong. I mean, just because he ain't blood related does not mean he is not family. He is family because right now he sees Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, and he sees Sammy Uso. And Sammy looked like he was about to start crying and shit. And the crowd started yeeting. Uh, and Jay just says, I hope to see you at Friday Night SmackDown, my brother. And then Sammy walked away. That, bro, I must say, Jey Uso, the last fucking promos he cut. When he came back to join the bloodline, he told Roman, look, man, I ain't nobody's lackey no more. I'm not doing none of that. We're gonna do this the right way, and I'm not taking no bullshit from you. That promo he cut was fantastic. What he did here, Sammy Uso, I see Jey Uso, I see Sammy Uso. Great way to play with the emotions of the fans, and just been on fire the last couple of weeks. Jey Uso has been having fun again. What were your thoughts on this interaction here? How did you feel about the Sammy Uso thing and Jay hinting like you're back, like you're a brother in my eyes?
Again, I would love to know who's talking in these guys' ears because, like you said, Jay's come around with these promos and they've been fucking amazing. There's definitely someone pointing these guys in the right direction recently, and it's shaping up this bloodline storyline amazingly. The confrontation, the tension between the bloodline and Sammy, and the whole he's not family, he is family. All this is just creating these fractures within them that they'll need to come together and mend eventually, and that's the moment that we're all kind of waiting for, you know. So I really do hope, and I'm sure he will, but I really do hope he shows up to SmackDown. I hope that he can get in the ring with them boys, and I do hope that they can finally squash this. There's a small part of me that hopes that they do squash this on SmackDown this weekend, and then fucking The Rock pops, and he goes, "Sorry to burst your bubble, but we got some shit to handle. Now that you guys are set, let's draw the battle lines." And I hope that happens. We've been saying it for the past couple of weeks. We need to start, ramping up towards the Survivor Series storyline if it is going the way that we predicted it's going. And the final piece that we're missing really is The Rock. I mean, you can make your case for Paulie also being a missing piece, but I think going into the Survivor Series storyline, the big missing piece that we need is The Rock. We can handle the Wise Man and whatever comes with that storyline after, but right now, with everything going on with the boys and Sammy and the OG bloodline kind of interfering in that and also trying to snake Sammy, I feel like we're getting some good shit right now, dude. We've been talking about for weeks that we needed the storyline to ramp up, and it's finally ramping up. So, like I said, I hope Sammy shows up on SmackDown this week. I hope that these boys can finally squash their beef and we can get shit rocking for Survivor Series.
Yeah, definitely want to see Sammy and Roman and Jay and Jimmy with squash their beef, and we're gonna see what happens tomorrow night on Friday Night SmackDown. But I do still want them to work for it. I don't want them to be like, so quick to just put them back together and everything be happily ever after. Like, need some tension and drama. So the moment it does happen, when they're all on the same page, when everything is firing on all cylinders, the ball is going in the basket 4 times in a row, I need it to be worth the payoff between them as a unit, as the original bloodline. And I'm excited to see what comes about it at Survivor Series. When will The Rock finally show up? When will the lightning strike there? Sure, he'll make his appearance soon enough. But the next little bit of Monday Night Raw that I wanted to quickly touch upon was the main event. It was a number one contenders match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, Sheamus themselves in a fatal four-way. Dominic Mysterio is an interesting name when paired up with the likes of Damian Priest, Sheamus, and Seth Rollins. They are showing Mr. Mysterio a lot of love and respect. But this match here wasn't too crazy to say the least. This really came to an end when Bronson Reed made an appearance and decided to hit tsunamis on Sheamus, Damian Priest. He even hit a tsunami on Seth Rollins through the announce table. So clearly he was not done. He was not happy with how Seth Rollins just defeated him that prior weekend at Crown Jewel. So we're gonna get a rematch here. I think it's gonna happen at either Survivor Series or Saturday's main event. And this time Bronson Reed better fucking win, please. Um, because he deserves it. And he should have won the first match. That would have been so much cooler with Bronson winning the first match and to win in the second. Nah, he should have beat him twice. Should have beat him fucking
I
twice.
was gonna say, nah,
Um,
he should have decimated him twice.
yeah, he should have beat him twice. But while all that happened, Dom saw the opportunity to capitalize on Bronson Tsunamis. He hit a frog splash on Sheamus, went for the pin, but Priest got up and punched Mysterio off. Dom was able to hit a 619 on Priest, but when he was going for the Hurricane Rana half, Priest caught him and hit him with a South of Heaven, and he ultimately won the number one match. So we're gonna get Priest and Unta for the World Heavyweight Championship. Listen. I gave him his props. Look, 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 look. This shit pissed me
Here it
off because
comes. Here
I
it comes.
earlier in the night, I gave him his props. I said that he and Gunther had a better match than Cody and Gunther did. I said that.
You did.
I don't need to see it again the next fucking within the next like 4 to 5 months, bro. Maybe I'm just being a hater. But god damn, bro. When we get somebody else in, this is the fucking problem. This is the problem with Chad Gable not being in this picture, with Bronson Reed losing on fucking Saturday. Because we're just getting a rematch of a match that happened 4 months ago, 5 months ago. We're in November. The shit was in August. Fucking 3 months ago. Like, come on, bruh. We could have had Gunther versus Bronson. We could have had Gunther versus Gable. We could have had something else. I'm not too mad at the match. Reese is good. He deserves it. Whatever. But we've already had it. Why can't we go in another direction? I wouldn't would have even appreciated Sheamus. I would have even appreciated Dominic Mysterio because it would have been funny. It would have been like the Eddie trope there and how he always cheated for a win. It would have just been fun to watch. But I guess we're getting Priest. We're getting the rematch. How do you feel about Priest getting his rematch? Do you think he's gonna win? Do you think he takes the belt off of Gunther? Following Gunther just lost his most recent match against Cody.
No, I don't think we see a lot the loss for Gunther be as heavy as maybe if it was somebody else. I think I'm with you with the sentiment that I didn't need to see this anytime soon. I don't know why the fuck we're going back to this again. Um, I love Priest. I think Priest is dope. I've come to appreciate him through his WWE run while he was with the Judgment Day and he held the belt. I feel like he definitely killed it and he earned what the spot that he's currently holding. I feel like he's earned it through hard work and sweat over the years. But I don't need to see this again like this soon. A couple months ago we had said it'll come. He will come back and he will face for the belt. It's not important right now. I don't think we're at the point where it's important again. I feel like more time should have passed. With this number one contenders match, I honestly was kind of hoping, and for a second there, I thought that Dom really was gonna win it. And like you said, I think it would have been not only funny, but I think it would have just gave him that much more heat and that much more of a storyline to play with because now he has beaten one of the top dogs. I remember a couple months ago when Gunther was unstoppable, and Dom was picking up steam. They had even pitched a slight idea of Dom being the one to finally take him down. So when this match went as long as it did, and I saw Dom still in there, I was like, "Holy shit, we might do this." We might actually have Dom go up against one of the bigger boys. But at the end of the day, Priest had to get his revenge on Dom, and he became the winner. Like I said earlier, I don't know if I need to see this just yet, but I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a bad match because they've proven to us before that they can put on some great matches. So we'll just have to wait and see how this one plays out. I hope this is just a one and done, just his rematch, and then we move on because Gunther does have more opponents that we wish we would see him face. You had brought it up earlier. This is the problem with those other people losing those big opportunities for themselves. I had said it before too. If Bronson would have won the match against Seth, they would have definitely put him in the stratosphere of, hey, I beat a former world champion. Now give me a chance at it. But you can't really do that now since Seth kicked his ass. And
Exactly.
that's the fucking problem with having these guys that you're strapping a rocket to and then just yanking them back down because you get cold feet. We saw it with we saw it with Bronson Reed, and we also saw it with Braun Breaker. You strap these kids, you push them to the top, and then you have them lose for absolutely no fucking reason. And then once you stop getting cold feet and you want to try again, you try to throw them at us after we've already seen them lose, and that kind of puts a stain on their career. So we need more of these stars to be elevated, so that when they we do need them to face someone like a Gunther, it's believable and we know we're going to get a great match out of it.
Exactly. And if you were gonna have Seth beat Bronson on Saturday, then why not have Seth win this fucking match?
Yeah,
Fuck
true.
you, man. Um, whatever. We're gonna get a rematch there, and so it looks like at this moment, I have the number one contender. We know Damian Priest and Gunther's gonna have probably at Survivor Series, and we now have Io Sky versus Liv Morgan probably at Survivor Series, and the War Games match, the Bloodline and the Bloodline 2.0. We have space for maybe two or three more matches. It is one of the big four pay per views, so I would imagine they maybe throw in a couple more matches. Um, I'd like to see the tag championships defended on this pay per view. I will say, I would like to see it. I would like to see the Motor City Machine Gun defend their tag champion. But that's all gonna happen more in a few weeks. We are only, I think, 3 weekends away from Survivor Series, and it's gonna be in Canada, Ami's home country. We just know we're going to get such a heart fucking full moment between Sammy and the Bloodline. It cannot. With that being said, was there anything else that I missed that happened on Monday Night Raw that you wanted to talk about?
Monday Night Raw, not that I can really think of. It was a pre-taped episode from Saudi the night after, I think. So I don't think
Was
there was like too much stuff that went on. I think we pretty much covered the big points on that one.
great. It was a pre-tape show, and those are, like you mentioned last week, those are difficult ones to uh stay away from spoilers with. And I had gotten a few spoilers myself. I think I saw the Io Sky win before I was supposed to. I was happy for her when I watched it, but I was disappointed that I didn't get to see it live. But it is what it is. But thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Word Around the Ring podcast. My name is Big Rob. And Jess, any parting words?
I would like to thank everybody for listening. We enjoy doing these episodes, and we love seeing the feedback from you guys online. We love that you guys are enjoying them as much. You guys have killed it, going above and beyond, liking the podcast on every platform, leaving comments, interacting with the polls. So thank you very much. We're trying to do more things for you guys. I actually have something secret that I've been planning that I might release next week. Other than that, though, we will see you next week for the midweek madness. But until then, just enjoy the wrestling. It's pretty good right now. Even NXT. So give NXT a chance. Um, until next week, good night and see you later.